slip in? We don't have to change
It
it?
is
Yeah,
Anywhere should we
we
stop?
call the city council
Okay,
meeting to order.
but I'll still drop it down, Tim.
Roll call, please.
Slusher?
Yes.
Fett?
Yes.
Feltes?
Yep.
Wojni?
Yes.
Mazak?
Yes.
Olson?
Yes.
We have a quorum.
Where is it now?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Notification of posting.
It was posted on the 13th of July at City Hall, State Bank, Arcadia, Arcadia to the Alliance.
All right, we have a 15-item agenda.
So moved.
Second by Feltes, second by Slusher. Any questions?
Fetch.
Fetch.
Did you get that hearing kind of going?
Perfect.
Is this here?
Yeah.
Feltes?
Yep.
Wojni?
Yes.
Mazak?
Yes.
Olson? Yes. Slusher?
Yes.
Fett?
Yes.
Motion carries. Public comment? Public comment?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, you bet.
Are we able to go talk to legal counsel across the street if we have a city situation past the administration and not allow us to do that?
Right, I remember that.
We can, since it's not a public comment, requires an answer, you and I can discuss
Okay,
afterwards.
very good, perfect. Good,
Tonight I'll answer it for you.
okay.
Comment?
Yeah, public comment.
I suppose like I could propose this at the agenda stuff, but there were some comments from a constituent about the culvert that goes underneath St. Joseph, going down McKinley or down in that area gets plugged up, and it's apparently can cause some problems flooding in backyards and all that sort of thing.
Sure.
So,
Well, if you want it, I mean, that's something we can handle rather quickly. We
I
can
think
talk
that-
about it in future agendas,
perhaps,
future
yeah,
agenda items.
I didn't know what to for that in. The other thing was comments on the recycling, how we coming on that, the recycling in the parks and all this sort of thing. I think we need to keep that addressed to see how that is actually going. And as far as, I don't know, what's the other thing? The other couple of things I will say for later for.
Okay. Any other public comment? Public comment? Hearing none, move on. Presentations, we have none this evening. Old business, approval of meeting minutes
So
from
moved.
July 2nd, 2018. Motion by Feltes, second by Slusher. Any comments and or changes? Hearing none, clerk will call the roll.
Wojni?
Abstain.
Mazak?
Yes.
Olson?
Abstain.
Slusher?
Yes.
Fett?
Yes.
Feltes?
Yep.
Motion carries. Board and commission updates, we have none this evening. Department updates, city administrator. Bill, the floor is yours.
And some pictures here.
Netflix.
We don't have a subscription, sorry.
Yet.
Yeah. I think that was the key word.
Yeah.
Joe does, we can log him on. Okay.
Transfer over. Oh, that's really nice.
Is that at least a 60-inch?
I don't know, 65, I think. So this is a picture of the well digger, the rig for at the Rascala property. Started earlier, I believe it's been a month and a half ago now. Sam's well drilling.
Technology's great.
Yeah, that's what it works.
Yep.
Bill, you need some help?
Oh, you're okay. This is the
You're offering, Bob?
He thinks it's messed up now.
so after the well was completed, this is the pump installers in there. This was last week. This is water filtration system and the water heater.
went off without a hitch then, huh?
Yeah, well, and then this is how the property looks like now. We just got out there and got done with the reclamation. I did let Mr. Rascala know not to drink the water yet. We want to test it to make sure that it's safe to drink, and then we're also waiting for the reports to come back in regards to the bacterial test. And the construction reports from the driller. So currently where we are, getting closer to concluding with that project.
Good, that's good.
He's very happy and wants to wanted to express to the council his gratitude.
Is that into the Saint Simon or the
Mount Simon?
Mount Simon? Well, we keep saying Saint Simon.
I think I told you that more than this time.
I know it, but you know, Mount Simon, so it's in there, so that should be good stuff.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah, it's a nice place. I can't see in there anymore. I remember when there was those pine trees were put around that property years ago, and they were just, you know, that high. Now you can't see in there.
I probably wasn't born yet.
More than likely. But very good.
Any
Anything
questions?
else?
Any questions on that?
Yeah.
No? And then the next thing here, we do have, go ahead. We did submit our proposal application to the U.S. Economic Development Administration and did receive a response back from them stating that, you know, we're qualified to have the first step now. And so we did issue a request for qualifications for engineering services for the internal drainage portion of the levee project. So that is out there. I've currently, I think, 7 or 8 engineering firms that are interested. It does close on August 1st, and so what I would like to do is take the opportunity at the meeting on August 1st, after we've concluded with our regular meeting, to have a working meeting to review the proposals and score the proposals. Leave it up to you to decide whether or not we wanna do it that night or a different night, but I would hope.
Shortly thereafter.
Yeah, I would hope that we would be interviewing engineers the week after, so between August 7th and August 9th. Have one picked out and then approve one at the August 15th meeting. So we have a 45-day turnaround in regards to preparing the full application and getting the full application submitted to EDA. So there's a quick turnaround on this, and as part of that full application, it requires an engineer certification on the projects.
I think it may be best to just do it the same night and be done, otherwise everybody's schedules, so we know what happens after that gets quite full.
Yeah, so what I would like to do is just review the proposals, score them, and then choose a group, maybe 3 to 5 firms to come back to do the interview, and then go from there.
Sounds good.
That's all I have.
Any questions of Bill?
Have you looked into that pedestrian cycling plan thing yet?
Not yet. I've seen the email.
Yeah, okay.
I've seen the email, but I haven't looked into the policy itself yet.
Yeah, which is kinda interesting.
McKinley Street was paved today, is my understanding.
Yes, it is.
Oh,
Todd, this would probably be a good thing in regards to that culvert by St. Joe's. You can just mention it to Bill, you know, obviously just get Bill the address of the complainant
yeah.
and where it's located, you can pass that information.
Yeah.
I remember that being brought up many, many years ago. Something about drainage from the hospital, from the air conditioning, from something.
Well, this is flooding, it's coming down.
Yeah, all the water was coming down on that side
Okay,
by the teacher's old what's her name?
yeah,
Roland's house, yeah.
We'll take a look. We'll take a look at that and see if it's a maintenance issue. We'll jet vac it or we'll auger it depending on what is there. And then if it's a size issue, then we'll have to plan for some kind of construction there.
this is,
I can't promise that it's going to be within the next couple of weeks here, but we'll take a look.
Jan Dvorak mentioned it. I'm thinking, isn't there kind of a culvert that goes down, between Leo Shank and,
The old CC dam.
correct, yeah. I was just wondering if it has something to do with that, between Ronawanick and Leo. Yeah, I don't know if it has something to do with that.
We'll take a look at that, I don't wanna divert too
No,
far
no,
off.
no, but, that's just a thought.
Any other questions of them? Hearing none, we'll move on. If not, you guys know how to get a hold of them.
I'll be here.
Public hearings, we have none scheduled for this evening. Item 8A, discussion of possible action on James Reed Monument and Memorial Park.
Well, you should have in your materials, some history on James Reed and then the memorial, statue that's being planned to be added to Memorial Park. It's right to the northwest of amphitheater. Plan Commission did review this at its last meeting and did recommend to council to approve it. Ben Golden is here, and he's got more information on the design, site location, and the monument itself.
I don't have anything digital, but, we have a little drawing, you guys might have some of that.
everything.
Yeah, we've got.
So yeah, you have kind of where you have photos of where the statue is at as far as in the process. They actually just had the final, coat color, added, and, it's being created. So if this is approved for this location, then it would be out at Memorial Park. But there's a lot of history on James Reed, in the packet, and being one of the first settlers in this area, he did, do a lot of, things around Arcadia, Trempealeau, and Winona. And there are, a few, sites for this monument and a couple other different versions. So there will be, at least 3, and then hopefully Arcadia will be one of them. But we are looking for a donation for a stone, and it looks like it's gonna follow through, if not, then concrete for the base, so that, that's in the works right now. So I guess if there's any questions for me, for design or any history on the gentleman, I'm pretty versed or educated on the topic, but, yeah.
I do have some questions. I also got some other documentation on Mr. Reed, and based on, what I was given, there's a few facts that came to my attention regarding, his dealings with the Native Americans.
It all happened, it sounds like
Well,
the history was true,
I-
there's scalping and people getting
exactly.
shot.
So
That was America, Wild Wild West.
So my question is, I just think that the council needs to think about this, that in light of the fact of these facts related to the Native Americans, is this statue appropriate at this time in history when we are all made aware of the hurtful practices that were acceptable in the past that but are not acceptable now?
Yeah, I think one of the comments, in the proposed, monument is that, he was buried in Potter's Field, for one, that there wasn't pension and this and that, but, he had Indian wives.
Yes.
So that was an outlook, we can't erase that stuff, and I think as far as the position in the park, it kind of is along that pioneer family in that era, so as far as appropriately placed, it seems like a good spot. Does
Well-
everybody have a map or know where?
You know, I guess, I think it's just something that, even if it is approved, that the council needs to talk about, because in the future, if someone comes back and questions this, I mean, look around the United States, all the statues that people are asking to have removed or whatever, at
Yeah,
least.
he's Scottish, he's not an Indian, but
Well, no, he's not, but he dealt with the Native Americans. In
I'm
some
sure some
question-
of us still do.
Well,
One-
I think
I think
think
you're
Ignore
missing my
his history
point.
is history, the tearing history down and not recognizing history, That's an irritant for me. If this guy was that big of a influence on the area,
I never
Yeah.
heard of him.
See,
I never had either of them.
Couple of
till this time.
tidbits, he was hired by the government to work with Chief Wabasha and teach the tribe conventional farming, because there was work being done on getting a treaty signed. So he was very instrumental on that piece of it, and he did build a barn for those people in the area in Winona, built the first structure in Winona, and helped Mr. Bunnell, who's the gentleman who named, traveled all the way out to the coast and named Yosemite. He helped him build his house there, so it was like the second building, the first house in the area. So as soon as that treaty was signed, he floated the first structure in Winona down to Trempealeau and established that town as well. I mean, he had a trading post made out of that same log structure. So this is pretty influential
I mean,
stuff
I
on the
understand
area.
what you're saying, and, you know, I agree with what Adam's saying, but I understand what you're saying is, you know, this is just something that we have to be
Be
aware of, that's something, you know, we might get at some point
Be-
now,
Some
in the
discussion,
future,
yeah.
maybe
Right.
not while we're here, that we should just be aware of.
Well, and I think, you know, I'm guessing that it's going to pass and be put in the park, but then if someone comes back, at least it can say, well, the city council did discuss this.
Right.
It wasn't as if we,
Right, just rubber stamped it.
exactly. So that's my point, is that we need to be aware of the history and before we vote.
That some repercussions may or may not.
Right, right.
Along those same lines, I mean, I never heard of this Reed guy, but apparently there's a Reed's Landing in Winona, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
that's,
just north of Wabasha.
Wabasha
well,
Right,
on
well,
61.
that's him.
He did not settle that area.
yeah, but
It's,
maybe it
oh,
was
it's not?
It got its name from different.
A different.
a different
Okay.
Reed.
Yeah,
It's
my
like-
boy, my boy went to Canada and actually where the Goldens came in and then traveled down. And he got his sign, his picture in front of this great big sign, Golden whatever, and in Canada. And I'm asking him, well, is that from, because we came through there, we settled there? No, you wanna know how they got their name is, there was a Silver Town next door, they wanted to be better than Silver Town, so Golden was the name.
Yeah.
But whatever that is.
Another comment is the, I would be probably more aligned to, since Bishop's Corners was the name of this community when it was first founded. Okay, there was people from the Civil War that came over here. Where's this Reed come in there? I would rather personally see something related to, what's his first name now? I put the flag up in the public cemetery on his grave every year, and
I think this would be previous to
Yeah,
that.
Mhm.
since his workings with the government, he had a really good relationship and he could pick the parcel of land that he wanted. It's in the records that he was not gifted, but the government sold him the Trempealeau, which is actually the mount, at the foot of that hill where the flag is, Liberty Peak.
in Crumpling.
Yeah, so he's the first owner of that property, so he really did, he was the first guy to establish that. Trempealeau, there's a lot of different information and a lot of different influences. I did some work on Winona, and there's seven different names to Winona before it was settled on that specific spelling and pronunciation.
I think it's all interesting, but who proposed this Reed statue in the first place? I mean,
I believe there's a statement in there that a lot of the historians thought a monument should be made of this guy. You know, Paul Bunyan's stories out here in Dodge area, he's fighting off the cougars from his dogs with a tomahawk. I mean, people eyewitnessed this and wrote it down. It sounds like incredible
Right
stories.
there.
Is that
Yeah, that's it.
this legend,
perhaps a future generation will build a monument to this romantic character.
Paul
So,
Bunyan?
for James Reed.
Oh, James Reed.
And it's being followed through on by Ron because he has his he has the means to do it, not just because he's admired, some of these stories, but it's his, three great-grandfather. So that's how the tie is. Since Ron contributed a lot to the park, it's very fitting to show this gentleman at, that era. The
So this
pioneer era.
guy's related to Ron?
Yeah.
Oh,
Specific.
great,
That's where I think it started.
He was the first judge in Trumbull County, too, right?
Yeah, correct.
Where are the other ones?
So there is one
Just
now
footing
placed,
the whole
it's
building.
just a black granite monument down at the river in Trempealeau.
Okay.
Yeah, and that has a lot of the same text.
Okay.
And then there's one being placed out at the cemetery, and there's, this, Potter's Field.
Okay.
And then there's, this monument is being proposed to, and this is a little premature because they're voting on it as well over in Trempealeau, but it looks like it's gonna go, a bronze is gonna go in town as well.
Where's Potter's Field?
I think it's a separate portion of this actual cemetery where Indians were buried, so the
Is
white
that like
guys.
in Trempealeau or something? or-
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a Potter's Field here at Arcadia Public too.
We do.
Back row.
So that's kind of where people
Something
can't
new, eh?
afford it, they just get plunked in.
That's, I know that.
That's exactly.
Yeah, so you have this guy that had all these contributions. In the end, you know, you didn't have Social Security, you didn't have
Cemetery, that's
the,
not marked as
you know,
cemetery.
the arm, you know, the military giving out too much. But he did get a chunk of land, so I'm sure it wasn't complaining.
Bob,
Oh.
you have a question?
Yes, was this the brainstorm of Mr. Wannick and he's footing the bill for all? Okay, that's what I thought.
That's what I
Yes.
was thinking too.
He has asked for donations, for contributions to the park, and you see some of these, pictures of rocks. Now, this is, like 4 times as much as, no, 10 times as much as concrete. By the time they get it all cut up and out of the quarry, it costs about that much, but it would equate to about 50 tons of rock. But that would be kind of a fitting, monument base. So he's been working on that as well.
When was the council made aware of this project?
I'm kind of filling in for Gary Bouch. He's
When
out
they came-
traveling for
when they
commission
came
first.
Okay,
and then
okay.
came here.
Well, this,
Came to them first
Planning commission, yeah.
I,
instead of us, and then we kick it to the planning commission?
I think the park stuff has always gone to the planning commission, correct me if I'm wrong.
We took the school project there. Is that out of, was that out of line? Well, that was
No,
last
that
week.
goes, yeah,
It goes to the planning
that goes to the
commission.
planning commission.
the only reason I asked that, Ben, is because I was walking one day and I met a man, actually a business owner in Arcadia, and he asked me what was happening at the park and what was going in, and I said, oh, I don't know either, I've been wondering the same thing, and he said, well, you're on the city council, you must have voted on it.
Sure.
And off he went. So it's like, ooh.
Hmm.
So that was,
Yes.
yes, and then I asked Kevin. Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah.
So I, you know,
I
it's
get
kinda
that
hard when
sometimes in my department too. But
yeah.
I feel left out sometimes, but things
Well,
are
I-
happening without me.
nice
At that point, you just tell me you talked about it in closed session, you can't discuss it.
You don't, yeah.
We did not, we did not do that. She's over there just a
It
right
was
no.
a joke.
Just say that Ben said that. I'm just kidding.
Oh dear.
Doc?
Is this the area where we, where the fireworks just set off? Is this gonna kind of?
No.
If you drive up there, you'll see it's,
It's
If you're
very
looking at the amphitheater,
Yeah.
from soldiers.
from Soldiers Walk, if you're on Soldiers Walk, and you
Right.
walk towards the amphitheater.
It's before the airplane is.
Yes.
It'll be on your left.
Yeah, I know,
outside.
I know. But,
Kind
is
of by the
that
fire
where, Mr. Hesley puts off his?
Not,
No,
no, not
I
anymore.
think
A number of
last-
years ago,
Yeah, last year, I think it was over.
they do it actually
does
in
in
the
the township.
township.
Yeah, no, he doesn't have to have permit.
Oh, way over, oh.
Everybody just faces a different way.
Was there was some hint some years ago about a Neptune's, some kind of a monument to Neptune, a fountain of some sort? That's
Sure, I think somebody eventually is gonna be a lucky recipient of that Greek god and a beautiful fountain.
Oh, really?
There is
But I
a
don't think
fountain.
it's
That's
gonna
a-
be in this
There's a
park.
fountain in the works there, isn't there? To the
There
left
is
of
one
us.
stored in,
I've
Ashley's
heard.
shed.
Yeah.
Oh, so there is something in the wires,
There's
I mean,
always
I just
something.
heard
Yeah, I think there's always something in the works, but I have no idea where that's gonna hit now. It's
I thought-
23 feet tall, and the trident, the fork, pitchfork, is right up there. I mean, it's like 2-3 stories.
And it's a fountain or something like that, with a bunch of horses or seahorses and all that.
Be an attraction.
You ever been to Versailles?
Is there any other questions?
I'm sorry.
Adam's gotta leave by 6:30, I don't want you to get off.
Versailles,
good.
yes.
Is there any other questions
You
of
wouldn't know.
Ben or in regards to this?
No.
That's
And I do
all have.
appreciate you bringing that up, Marlis, because those are, yeah, things that, that may come up. Not just in our age, but in the future, so it is good to bring it
So,
up.
yeah, that at least it was addressed.
Right.
Yeah, I guess I didn't know.
Comments, other comments, questions? We'll call the roll. Wait, we do have a
So
motion,
move.
motion by Feltus, sorry,
Second.
by Mazak. Now the clerk will call the roll.
Mezek,
Yes.
Olson,
No.
Fletcher,
Yes.
Fetch,
Abstain.
Feltes,
Yes.
Wojni.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thanks, Ben.
Yeah.
You don't have to stick around, but you surely can.
I'm going to take this opportunity and exit the building, but I did, in case anybody didn't have, information, we printed out a couple more packets. I can leave them with Angela. Or anybody else that needs it, I can hand it.
I just had a quick question when you walk by. You know, your kids are pursuing golden stuff. Did you ever ask about the golden arches or anything?
That's definitely somebody else.
Really bad.
All right, thanks, everyone.
You bet, thank you.
Item 8B, discussion of possible action on the nuisance ordinance.
So move.
Motion by Feltus,
Well-
second by Fetch to approve, discussion.
Well, and I just wanna say this is still yet in its draft form, we haven't had any comments from the council on this yet.
Yep.
And I wanted to provide you the opportunity to take a look at that.
Just because there's a motion to approve doesn't mean we can't table it for further meeting.
And Terry is also in the process of reviewing it, so I wanted, because it has a lot in the ordinance itself, I wanted to get it in front of you and for discussion. And, I did have possible action right on the agenda in case, there was some kind of action that you had wanted to take, but just to let you know, that's where we are with the ordinance currently.
Is there questions or comments in regards to it? Otherwise, if not.
Is this the one about the property and all this sort of thing,
No.
about the way it looks and?
No.
The nuisance ordinance?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I was.
That's what
I think it's in-
Light dust traffic parking, it's in.
Yeah, it's in the, I think it's in the wrong order in your.
Wrong order.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, I
Yeah, put it in
apologize.
the wrong order, stapled the wrong order.
It's not on,
So this, this is,
I was
is,
reading.
it's not on the computer.
They're flipped, 8B and 8C are flipped.
The one I got in, it is the
it should be a part of the packet.
special events.
It'll be in the next
The
ordinance.
next one.
Yeah, but I didn't get the,
So
well,
yes.
here's the nuisance, I'm sorry, here it is. So that would address fireworks and all that sort of thing, right?
No.
What it addresses, so there's a long list of items that it addresses, it references, animals, firearms, fires, fire prevention, fireworks, peace and good order, property maintenance, solid waste, and transient merchants, trees. And the reason you see that show up right away in that ordinance is because we have other chapters or ordinances that are particularly dedicated to those items. But sections of those ordinances may also be considered nuisance activity. So, again, if you haven't had a chance to take a look through it, I would encourage you to do so. It does address some of the issues that we are currently having, for example, parking on lawns,
Inoperable vehicles.
vehicles,
lawns,
yeah,
driveways.
correct.
Lighted buildings,
Lighted buildings,
junk vehicles.
correct. Rat and rodent, storage. So, do take your time to take a look through that and give me any comments that you may have. I figured as it is the first time that you are looking at it, you may not be prepared to discuss in full detail today. And again, Terry is going through this, ordinance and will have his comments to me, for our conversation next time.
Okay.
For instance, the investigation of premises, who's supposed to do that and all that kind of.
Correct, it spells out, investigations, who can bring a complaint, it spells out how to abate it, an abatement plan. And then if it isn't abated, what the process is as far as going, finding or the city doing work, talks about all of that.
So since there is is there a question, more questions on that?
Closer look at it.
Do you have a question?
No, sorry.
Hearing none, I guess a motion would, be in order to, postpone or table to a further meeting. Motion to table?
So what are we doing with the motion on the floor? Are we
We'll send
rescinding
it.
Huh?
You're gonna
Did
rescind
we have a,
it.
did we have a second?
You
Yeah,
did, you
that-
said, you did.
Oh, I did, huh?
You can rescind it if it's
Oh,
up to you.
okay, yeah,
We're
okay.
gonna just rescind
We'll just resend it and table it.
Yeah, and we don't
With the
actually need to
permission
take
of the
any
sec-
action.
With permission of the second.
Is that okay with you?
Well, if we don't take any action, do we need to act, you wanna take action to table or just?
No, we can just bring it back
on
when
another
it's,
agenda?
Yeah.
when Terry gets done with it, but hang on to this, if there's ever, a red line copy or something that goes out, before the meeting. Even if it's before the rest of the agenda, Bill or Angela, if we get something, just to get it in the hands every day, so thanks, sir. Item 8C.
So this is a special events ordinance, this one I believe you have seen before, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
And so, we did already, receive comments from Terry and think we're good to go. Again, I wanted to give you the opportunity to read through it one last time. I did add to the agenda possible action, but, if you would like the time to go through it one more time,
I think it's better to wait.
we can definitely do that. And so the gist of the special events ordinance is, again, any event that is above and beyond what the property is originally intended for. So things like a basketball tournament at the school, wouldn't fall under a special event unless they were going to close down streets per se. If it's a party at the pavilion, which is, you're not requiring a special alcohol license or that's not, extending into public areas or the park area, above and beyond and needing city services, then I wouldn't consider that a special event. The purpose of it is to provide a fair and equal playing field for all those that are interested in having special events, setting standards, and then also, allowing our staff the able time and resources to be able to assist in special events. So that is the purpose of it.
I just had a question, Bill, on page 2
Mhm.
of that graph, under, B, letter C, under B.
Yep.
The expectancy of 25,100 or more, should that be instead of less?
Yep.
Yep,
Okay.
good catch.
Wow.
Somebody's doing her homework. Better catch up. Usually he catches all that spelling stuff. Any other comments or questions?
You hold in one, I think that's what.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if we could bring this back, we've lived without it, I think it's something that we all know that needs to be in place.
And again, so it's just, our recommendation eventually when this does get passed, so that it's fair for all of the event holders out there, we would pass it and then institute it or have it go into enforcement
January first.
January first.
So even if we don't bring it back to next meeting, we wanna make sure it's ready to go.
We just wanna make sure that we have enough time to get it out there to those event planners so that they can plan for next year.
If nothing else, we go on to, item 8D. We were going to do an assignment of a subcommittee for the library financing. What I think we should do is we're gonna meet with the school board, as a whole, instead of meeting back and forth, work with their board and our board to just meet as a whole, get it done in one night. Did they give us some dates?
Not yet.
Not yet.
The superintendent is out of town,
All
and
next week,
then
right?
our city attorney is out of town, so we're looking at the week of August sixth.
Probably be,
So maybe you should put that date, that Wednesday night,
and they like to meet usually later in the evening.
I'm not sure.
Not at 5, their meetings are typically at 7,
That would be good.
so, but instead of 2 or 3 of us, 2 of us going, I guess it would be. And then coming back and then going back and making another decision, we think we can do it all in one night, so.
Has everybody met the new guy?
No.
Nice guy. Young kid.
What's his name again?
Lance
Bagstead.
Bagstead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, he's gotta be.
That's Bagstad, I think.
You let him in?
Yeah.
So anyway, keep that on your radar as well, you said
Are you gonna
August
send them?
8th?
Okay. Are you gonna put the date for sure?
No, that's not
We're waiting
for-
to hear back, but
Okay.
you'll get your August calendar, plenty of time to be able to.
Oh, okay, cause I was gonna say otherwise, instead of an email, if you could.
But, you know, if it's agreeable to everybody here, I mean, we can just say the council believes August 8th at 7 o'clock and kind of puts it in their court that,
I can shoot that email.
I'm not saying that it's gonna work, but,
That'll be our first choice.
yeah.
August 8th is what kind of a date or?
It's
It's
a
a Wednesday,
It's the day
Oh,
before,
it's
Ash-
just-
so we would meet
oh,
3 times.
day
in the
before
first-
Ashley,
For the,
for the arts.
that was-
Well,
Well, that shouldn't make any difference.
No.
I'm not busy that
I'm
night.
not running the marathon.
Well, I'm getting, oh, so, especially before, I won't be running it that night.
That'd have to be the next night.
Yes.
My kids are running it.
With their dad.
No. Nice try, Marley.
I'll drive, or do you wanna drive?
Preferably, you drive.
All right. Item 9A, approve bills of general account in the amount of $195,392.38.
So moved.
Motion by Feltus, second by Mazak.
No
Question?
deviation.
I was just looking at that, Joe.
I have one for, it's a.
2 in 1 month, sorry, Bob.
Fourth from up from the bottom, donated ops granted, is that the one that was the military ops?
Yes, General Norris Ops.
Okay, that's, okay.
Who?
General Norris.
Oh. Oh, I see. Who did, oh.
Where is that from?
Fourth up from the bottom.
Whiteman Concrete.
Oh, okay,
That's just.
It just said ops, and I was just making sure that it was the military one.
okay. I have a question, for Tri-County Communications, the Wi-Fi at Memorial Park. Is the city's totally paying for that now?
Correct.
Well, no,
It-
we still
well-
have, we have the donation is supposed to cover the first 2 years, which would get us through this year. And that will need to be a discussion item for the budget.
In 2019. 19, sorry.
Okay, so that's not coming out of our, they gave us the money.
They gave us the money,
And
it's
this-
partially being
right,
paid
And we'll
for.
transfer that.
Okay.
There's other
It's in a
Wi-Fi
restricted-
services that are all put into the same bill,
Right, okay.
but,
Oh, how's it, plus the, so it's plus. the
right, does
part
that
that-
answer it somewhat? I don't want
Plus
it,
the
I don't want
part.
it to sound, does that answer your question? I
Yes.
don't want it to sound, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff lumped into the
No, I
track, okay.
understand that.
Mayo Clinic Health Systems, pre-employment expense, who did we hire?
A new part-time officer in the
I didn't know we were hiring a new officer.
Part-time.
Or part-time.
I think
It's kind
we're
of
continually
revolving
looking,
door.
because people come in.
Okay, I'm just, I seen it, it caught my eye.
Come in, get a new job from full-time somewhere else and, out the door. We had a very nice gentleman that was, I forget his name, but he was, I think you guys had all met him.
Jen?
No, bilingual gentleman worked here. Couple
Oh.
months, couple
Okay.
months.
Eduardo or was it?
Kevin Lozano,
Yeah,
and actually got hired down at lacrosse PE. So, it was kinda bad to see him go, cause it's like, I mean, he was well liked within the community.
And then you just hope that they stay on the roster for special events.
Right. Any other comments or questions? Nope. Hearing none, clerk will call the roll.
Holston,
Yes.
Fletcher.
Yes.
Fetch,
Oh, whoops, sorry.
Feltes,
Yes.
Yes.
Wojni,
Yes.
Mazak.
Yes.
Follow instructions.
We did have a motion, no? Where am I?
Operator licenses.
So moved.
Second.
Pending background checks.
Motion by Feltes, second by Fetch.
Yeah,
I didn't
sure.
see any, did I? Oh, here. I see.
Questions in regards to them? Hearing none, clerk will call the roll.
Fletcher,
Yes.
Fetch,
Yes.
Feltes.
Yep.
Wojni.
Yes.
Mazak.
Yes.
Holston.
Yes.
Motion carries. Future agenda item, Fletcher,
Nothing.
Fetch.
Those that I proposed, before, I guess, yeah. I wanna talk to, I don't know if we have to put this on the agenda, but I wanna start working on that skating rink.
Okay.
So that means
It's ready to-
possibility of getting it flattened out or getting somebody to measure or to, shoot it, or what do you call it, to survey it?
You'll never get that water froze this time of year, Doc. Never happened.
Picky.
Well, I'm just telling you, I'm just warning you ahead of time.
Anything else, Doc?
No, I think that's enough.
Nothing this time.
Bob? Campbell? Marlis?
Well, work on the recycling and, garbage.
As far as, when you guys say recycling, just to make, do we want to work like the group that's handling the recycling, have them come in and explain what we're doing, or the recycling, just I wanna, or the recycling from Hilltopper recycling?
Well, I think that we need to encourage more recycling in the city. I think there's a lot of recycling going into the garbage.
You mean like extra containers that say recycling on them?
Right.
That's what I think she's getting at.
Well, I mean, that would be one,
Right,
right.
that's what when you were
That would be
talking,
part
that's
of
what I
it.
saw.
I just wanna make sure.
that's
what I
part of
heard.
it, yes, and,
I am working on a presentation on garbage services in the city of Arcadia and recycling along with it, so.
so
I
it'll be
think,
coming.
yeah, again, for another day, but we are going to the budgeting cycle, so we have to take a closer look at recycling costs going into next year and beyond.
Hey, we can put something like that on the agenda.
And find out how much tonnage has gone up hauling to lacrosse.
Yeah, that'll be a part of the presentation.
Okay.
Can
Costs.
I go around once more? Don't look at me that way.
Go ahead.
No, I probably forgot, what was I gonna say, something about, the recycling.
Well, just so you know, you can always contact Bill, Angela, or myself and get something put on the agenda. And, you know, or if it's something that can be answered through a department head, doesn't have to be on the agenda, we can do it that way.
Yeah.
Alright. Special meeting, we do meet tomorrow night, right here, 5 o'clock. Union negotiations.
I might not be. Nikki's 35th birthday tomorrow, so he's got some plans and I need to shoot him down.
Completely understand, Bob.
Absolutely.
So, I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Whoa. Motion by Slasher, second by Fetch.
Had to get in there.
Joe gets a little ornery now. Clerk will call the roll.
I haven't seen
Fetch.
this. Yes.
Feltes.
Yes.
Wojni.
Yes.
Mazak.
Yes.
Holston.
Yes.
Fletcher.
Yes.
Motion carries.